And this is a question that I get all the time. Everybody wants momentum, right? Sometimes you don't even realize you have it, and then you look back and realize you dropped it, right? So we're going to talk about how to kickstart it and then how to keep it because it's really important. Okay, anybody ever heard fast is easy, slow is hard in network marketing? Listen, both paths will get you where you eventually want to go. Fast is easy and way more fun. Slow is hard. Ask me how I know. Right? Okay, so the first thing that you have to have when you're thinking about kickstarting momentum is ownership. Okay? I'm going to hurt some people's feelings right now, but listen. Go ahead and realize you are exactly where you deserve to be in your business right now. Whether you're maintaining rank, behind in rank, about to hit another rank, you are exactly where you deserve to be. Now, for some of you that drums up some emotions, some of you probably have some words for me right now, and it's okay. I had to accept ownership of that too as a non-maintaining emerald who was staring at the possibility of missing Hawaii. I was missing it. My only option, as a matter of fact, to get to Hawaii was go sapphire. Now, if you're not a maintaining emerald, the idea of having to go sapphire in 3 months feels really, really scary. But, I mean, that's the only solution Brittany and Fallon could come up with. They're like, well, I mean, you've only hit emerald one time. There are 3 months left to hit it 4 more times. So, I mean, I'm not a math whiz, but it wasn't happening. So, the idea was you got to figure out how to go sapphire. And I'm like, well, great. I've been trying to figure that out. But there were things I had to take ownership of in my business. And it came from some very painful conversations with people who care a ton about me. And so here's the thing. I had to take ownership of about 3 main things. Number 1, being others focused. You guys, I don't know if it's occurred to you or not, but you could be a leader who is way more concerned about what Plexus, the business, is doing for you than you are people around you. And you guys, that's not a right attitude. It is the attitude I have. Okay, listen, it got me a long way. So you can grow through that, but I looked around. What happened? Here's how I realized that. I won a shopping spree. Big, huge goal I had. Very first shopping spree earner on Britt's team, besides her. And I thought walking into that shopping spree, I was about to own the place. And I walked in and felt totally alone. I walked in and I'm like, winning is no fun by myself. It was the first time it ever occurred to me. I'm not even kidding. I've been on team sports my whole life, but I mean, I'm a type 3. So when we won, I assumed it was because of me. And when we lost, I assumed it was because of them. So I walk into this shopping spree, and it's the first time I realized them not winning was because of me. Because I realized how much of my winning was because of Brittany. And I realized I wasn't doing my team service. So I had to become others focused.
So you mean you weren't blaming and thinking, I don't have a certain rock star or my team isn't doing this?
No, I realized it was me. I was the problem. And I don't care what the problem is, you guys, we're it. We're it. We don't get to blame anybody else. We don't get to expect them to do anything we're not doing. Ever. We're going to talk about that too. Okay, so that's what I had to focus on. And now listen, these may not be the same things you have to focus on. I'm going to tell you how you find those things out. But number 2, I had to recognize what I was resisting. Y'all all got a leader in here that's trying to tell you what you're resisting. I don't know what it is for you, but you have someone who has told you numerous times, if only, then this. And you, for some reason, push it.
And if for some reason someone has not told you that, then you need to ask your upline, and you need to ask questions, and you need to be proactive and figure that out. Because like what was mentioned before, this is your responsibility and you're owning it. It's not because your upline didn't help you with something or your downline's not doing something. So if you don't know, then ask and figure it out. Ask your upline.
And if you don't know, it's likely because every time they've tried to tell you, you've become defensive or you've justified. And you guys, listen, your upline's human too. They're only going to attempt so many times. Poor Brittany. Listen, Brittany was prepared to break up with me because of my resistance. I'm not kidding. Am I, Brittany? affecting my life, it's affecting my health, it's affecting my sanity, and it's affecting my family, and I'm telling you, I love them more than you, and I'm not doing this anymore. And I was like, hold up. Is this a breakup? Hold up, are we there? Like this, like a real breakup. And she's like, I can't do it anymore. I'm telling you, you have to grow. I was a doer. Just tell me what to do. Like no offense. Every team call, I'm like, can we get past the mindset and get to the doing? I'm not kidding. I'm like, all of that is fluff, whatever. Tell me what to do. And she said, I've told you for the last time, it's not what you have to do. You are the doingest person I know. Like you do all that.
Way to go there.
But it's in who you have to become, and you're unwilling to become it.
Fallon had that same thing when she was stuck at Senior Gold for a couple years. You guys have probably heard that story, but Lori Welsh eventually had to tell her, I don't know what to do for you. You just have to go, here's some books to read. I can't help you anymore. That's the word she used. I cannot help you anymore. That's a hard blow. Someone could run from that and be like, well, I guess I can't do this. I'm not meant for this business. But she decided to do the books and do the personal growth and to figure it out. So similar, she didn't stop working, same as Christina. She was doing the things, but it was something more than that. So you can use that to drive you to move forward, or you can say, oh yeah, well, I just can't do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm a clinger 101, so she wasn't getting rid of me. I'm like, fine, what books? But I really got serious about learning. I really just decided, honestly, to prove her wrong. Like, fine, if she's telling me this is the only thing that's missing, and if I'll just really get serious about it for just a little while, and what do you know? The more that you grow, the more that you know, and the more that you change. So, what are your leaders telling you that would change your business if only you would do? Okay. Last thing I had to take ownership of was I had gaps in skills, which is real hard for a type 3 achiever to recognize. Gaps. I had gaps in skills. So you know what I did? I got real vulnerable, and I got very open for criticism. I invited Brittany to sit in on coaching calls with my team. She sat there in the background, incognito, and listened to me coach my team. Now, y'all, listen, this is how my life works. When I finish something, I'm like, nailed it every time. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't even know if I actually nail it, but in my brain, I tell myself that every time. So we would do this coaching call. She would call me. She'd be like, tell me how that went. I'm like, I killed that. That was probably the best 30 minutes of your day. I'm going on about how fantastic I was. And she said, well, I think I figured out why your team's not growing. I'm like, I know. They need to go do this and this and this. She's like, you just gave them a list of actions to take, but you failed to listen to why they weren't taking the action. You didn't connect with them. Emotions got started, mindset issues began to pop up, and you know what I did? Great, talk to you next week, bye. End of the phone call. She's like, why did you choose right then to end the call? This was multiple calls, multiple people. Clearly I was the common denominator. And I'm like, what do you mean? They had a problem, I fixed it, they know what to go do. Mindset. I wasn't willing to connect with people. I wasn't willing to help them through their emotions in this business, and they got them, a lot of them. I had to learn that just because I am not super emotional doesn't mean that other people are not. I had a responsibility to really dig deep with my people.
And that's a good point, because example right there, why would a person not dig deeper? Either one, they don't have the skill set and they need to learn and figure out how to ask questions or whatever. But two, some people don't want to ask the hard questions, or they don't want to dig deeper. There's so many aspects to that. So if you either don't know how, you can learn, or if you're unwilling to ask the hard questions or confront people because you don't want to be mean, because you think that that's mean, or you think that it's calling somebody out, or you just want to be that rah-rah encourager, you're doing them a disservice. So you have to be able to.
Bob Heilig says, a lack of accountability is a lack of integrity in a relationship. Your unwillingness to hold someone accountable, asking hard questions, keeping them to what they said they're going to do, is a lack of integrity in y'all's relationship, which, by the way, would be a lack of integrity in you as a leader. If you promised to hold someone accountable, if you've promised to help them be successful, if you've told them they can follow you, and then you let off the gas, you let it off the hook, you let it easy, would you do that with your kids? Like, listen, I found this is going to be an extreme example. I found a joint, what's it called? A pipe, a blunt, whatever. I clearly didn't go on that road, but you found one of those in your teenage son's room. Clearly there's going to be some hard conversations, some questions. None of you would be like, well, let's just brush that under the rug and act like we didn't see the joint. Like, pretend that doesn't happen again. No, you would sit down and out of love try to figure out, listen, buddy, help me understand. After I beat your tail. Help me understand the heart issue behind this decision. What kind of game plan do we need? What is my ownership and my responsibility as your parent? Guys, your team is expecting that you will lead them. And if you let them off the hook, you're not doing your job.
So whatever your skill set is, Christina gave a very specific example for what she got to work on. So whatever that is for you, whether it's similar or different, the point is she figured it out and she asked. She already said, well, I thought I was a rock star at coaching calls. I got that nailed down. How many people can sit here and think, well, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, I know how to do that. You guys all have been here for a while, or you've learned skills and worked hard to get to where you're at. So we know you know how to do things, but you're not too good to self-reflect and look at what you can improve on. John Maxwell would be considered the expert in personal growth, but he still does it every single day and works to improve that. So we need to be humble enough to work on that every single day in terms of our skill set.
100%. We were at the Diamond thing in Dallas last week. There wasn't a diamond there who thought, I don't have anything to learn. We were all like, okay, wait, tell me what you're doing. Oh, how's that working? Like, we were all just trying to just refine constantly. Okay, ownership, that was point number 1. Point number 2, what should you be focused on? If you want to kickstart momentum, what do you focus on? Number 1, why is momentum important to you? What is momentum on your team going to look like in your life? What do you actually want?
If you don't know what you want or where you're going, how are you going to get there?
Well, you won't, because something hard will come up and you will convince yourself in your brain you don't actually want it that bad. Think about people in fitness. Here's what happens. December 30th comes about. Everybody got something that they want, right? They don't take the time to flesh it out. They're just going to lose. This is going to be the year they're going to lose weight. And then what happens January 5th, they convince themselves that that extra pudge around the middle is not that big of a deal. They don't really want anything different. They can go ahead and indulge. Your why has to not just be what you hope to achieve, but how it's going to manifest itself in your life. You know what weight loss is going to do for some people? It's going to give them confidence to be in photographs with their kids. It's going to give them the ability to get in the ocean and play. It's going to give them things that will manifest in life. What is momentum on your team going to look like when it manifests in your life? And why is it important? Guys, it has to be so important that it would be painful not to get it. What I wanted in my life, freedom to be with my kids, was so painfully obvious that I would have rather died than not gotten it. Which is why I would sacrifice what I did. People would say, you just never stop. You don't ever do this, you do all this, you're just superwoman. No, I just got a really big dang why.
You're not gonna work hard for something that isn't worth it. So if you don't have that in the forefront of your mind, figure out a bigger why, figure out a bigger belief and a bigger vision of what you're gonna do with it. Because otherwise, why are you gonna work through the hard? Momentum is hard. It's going to hurt. It's going to be hard. You're not going to be willing to do that if you don't have your sights set.
And let's just go ahead and talk about this false humility of just being grateful with where we are, with what we've got. BS. You are limiting the potential God has given you if you decide to just say, I'll just be grateful for what I got. I don't really have any other, this is just, I'm grateful. Then show gratitude by going and developing it. Show gratitude by going and helping other people do the same thing. There's nothing flattering about false humility. Okay. How will you feel when you achieve this? Let's say momentum happens and in 9 months you go diamond. Let's say that happens. What's that going to look like? What's your spouse going to say? What are your kids going to say? How does it change your life realistically? Maybe nothing really changes. Maybe life is the same, you still live in the same house, your kids go to the same school. So what is having that rank, that title, that paycheck, that just personal sense of accomplishment? What does that look like? What's it look like in your marriage when you're able to say, babe, all that sacrifice, look, here it is. It just happened.
Or your family, or your kids, you're bringing them along, the example you're giving. What do you want them to see as, what you're going for? Your dream is a family, do it together. We've talked about that many, many times. So bring your kids along, bring your spouse along, do that together.
Okay, what not to focus on? Other people. Guys, listen, I'm too busy working on my own grass to know whether or not hers is greener. I have no idea. I'm too busy manicuring my own dang lawn. Don't focus on other people. Somebody's going to have something shinier and more exciting. Who cares? Focus on your own grass. Okay. Don't focus on comparing. Think about this. Okay, so some of y'all followed my faith journey. More importantly, y'all followed my husband's faith journey, which is really, really awesome. But I came up with this comparison the other day. So my husband just recently decided he was going to follow Jesus. He's 40-something years old, and he'd been through some stuff. Okay, he's done some stuff. So for him to come to this realization, everybody around us is like, for real, Brandon? Like, so it's a big deal. Okay, it's a big deal with anybody else, but specifically my husband. But here's what I'm thinking. I was sitting in church the other day, and I was watching the pastor preach, who happens to also be our same age. And I remember thinking, this would be a really easy time for someone, even me, who is as in personal growth as I am, to go, man, I sure wish my husband did blank. I wish my husband would talk about his faith openly. I wish my husband would do that. And in an instant, I was like, oh my gosh, no, I've got to be so grateful for where we are, my grass, real green right now, that I'm not even noticing what somebody else is doing. But you know what it does? It can do for me.